Um, well, I mean, I think that, like I said in some other comments the other day, I think that they're an outstanding team. I think they're really well coached. They have a style on both offense and defense. You know, they're able to kind of grind on the game a little bit, and you know they can do that on defense, and they're really, really disciplined in their shot selection on offense. So, you know, I thought for us, you know, that we came out of the gates really in attack mode, right? Maybe we didn't get a lot of shot attempts, but we got 27 free throws in the first half. We end up with 33. You know, I thought that when we moved the ball and, you know, guys were playing downhill, we were pretty hard to guard. You know, the game gets tough, it gets tight. You know, they have a winning edge, and I thought our guys competed, and every time out we were talking about defense, and they were connected in the huddle, and they were connected on the court. And, you know, as a young group that's basically, you know, we're 3-0. We've only played 4 games together, with counting the Panathinaikos game, that, you know, where we're at and where we will be at, you know, will be vastly different, and as we move this group forward.
What do you think has changed defensively for this group this season compared to last season?
I think that there's just a competitive will with our group to get stops. You know, there are guys that are defensive minded, but, you know, would you say Bryce is an offensive guy or a defensive guy? But Bryce knows that we have to defend, and he's like always in connection with these guys about what level, what are we in, where are we at. But I would say as a whole, when both of our bigs are as active and energetic as they have been, and whether that's Ice and Z, and then, you know, Nick's starting to find his rhythm with the group, like those two can kind of control the pace for us and do what we need to do.
What do you make of this Isaac's performance?
This guy is unbelievable. You know, I think you all see all the hard work. I think that, you know, he loves a couple of things in his life, and basketball is one of them. And I think that he's found his joy playing with this group. But you can ask him.
What was it again? Yeah,
right now you're averaging right around like 19 points in about 22 minutes. Very efficient. What is it out there that you're seeing that's making you play such good basketball?
Well, you know, I am a basketball player. Like, I want to just remind people that, like, I'm not, you know, all of these things that people just started to create, you know, out in the universe. Like, I work hard and I love basketball and I can play, and it's just humming right now, you know. Like, we have a great group of guys. We're really honing in on finding joy and the excitement of what we do as a job, and I think it's really obvious out there. But yeah, you know, it's when people, I feel sometimes it's a bit of a double-edged, like, backhanded compliment when people are like, "Oh, you're playing so well this year." It's like, well, I've played well for a decade, like, you know, but we all have our ups and downs. We all have our ebbs and flows as in seasons, and I feel really good this season. I have a great group around me who's fighting, and we're doing all the right stuff. And I think that's how I'm playing is I'm really locked in, but I think it's also a testament to who's around me and what we're doing that people don't see. So,
can you talk about the process of learning to play in the pick and roll with Bryce? And it seems like the connection's very, very big. It's been very, very quick.
It has been quick, and I think that's come from communication. We sit and talk a lot about how we can find each other and what we can do. An interesting conversation we had once was I was saying to him, I know where to be because I've guarded you for like so many years. I know how to. I've guarded you for in pick and roll actions for so long. I know on the flip side exactly where to be offensively. And he said, well, just as much as you've guarded me, like and played against me, I've played against you for that amount of time as well. So I know where you're going to be as well. And we just had that connection from playing against each other in a weird way. And now we get to find that synergy together, and it's very exciting. But if something happens and we like that, we'll talk about it and be like, that was a good one. We like that. Let's try to. I like which way. I'm finding out which way he likes to go, which way he likes to pass. We're just connecting in a really, really nice way out there, and I love playing in pick and roll. So I think it's just exciting and really good.
The same thing, two-man game. Seems like you guys are doing a good job finding each other.
Yeah. Yeah, that was another just a quick process, but it was definitely something we consciously were trying to figure out, him and I. We knew we'd play together a lot, and we bring totally different things to the game, and I just, it's just sort of flourishing and coming, and that pass tonight, I just knew he was going to be there. Like, it was, I literally threw it behind my back. Like, I just knew I knew he was going to be there. You see a little blur, and you just know he will be in that window, because that's just what we do. We just rep it out and keep going and going and going, and we're just connecting, all of us. So.
Mike, I know during the week you spoke about being 3-0 and how important that was going to be. Can you give us some insight into the discussions that you had and why you didn't shy away from that during the week?
Well, I just think it's such, man, we've done so much work to kind of create a whole different environment with this team. And maybe we don't get off to a good start, but it's really nice to sort of have the win, right? It sort of gives you the validation that you're on the right track. And we've had a couple of games where, we didn't play, I would say, really in sync in game one, and we got a win. And we found a really interesting rhythm in game two. And today was a completely different kind of game because of what Tasmania. So we're already showing some characteristics of being able to win multiple different ways. But yeah, like, it's just nice to be able to, myself and Matt Weston and Grant and Nick Barbato, like, we really tried to dive into this thing and change it in the off season. And like I've said before, I really think we've had some great people in here, but for some reason it just didn't click that well last year. And we tried to get the right kind of guys in here. We're talking about it a lot, but I don't think it's just lip service on this. I believe everybody believes that we have a really unique group. It feels like that. I don't know what the end will be and how it all ends up in 30 more games, but we have a group that wants to come together and get better every day. We have a chance of doing something that's pretty unique. And that, to be honest with you, like, Bryce scoring, 29 and 9 and 3 steals, and he's such a dynamic scorer, but, we've got him playing more point guard, and now you're seeing some playmaking ability. And we have to do some things different than what you've seen him do in Perth. And our team makeup's a little bit different. And, when you have your really good players being as unselfish as Bryce, as Ice, as Zylan, what Matt Kenyon does, he plays 15 minutes, he doesn't score a point, he takes the other team's best scorer. Like, we can go down the line because there is guys that are just willing to dive in for the team, and it makes it really a fun deal. And for me, it's just been, sort of, you kind of mentioned that you see me kind of more relaxed and smiling because I'm able to coach basketball, and I've wanted to do this for a long time, and Ice has wanted to play like this in a long time, and it's just fun that it's sort of come together, even though it's 3 games, and it's going to get a lot harder. But it is exciting that there's an opportunity for us to do something really kind of unique.
Mike, can I touch on Saturday's game coming up? Obviously got a massive one, and Kendrick's coming back to town. Do you scout that as another regular season game, or do you prepare for the fact that he wants to drop 50?
Yeah, I think that, Kendrick was here, 8 months, and, man, he played great. 28 and 8, runner-up to MVP. He did a hell of a job. He's a very, very good, unique player. We're lucky that he's in the league. And, for us, it's focusing on the Sydney Kings, and we always talk about the other team's best player, whether it's, Bryce Hamilton or Jack McVay or, so there'll be a focus, and they have a lot of really good players, right? Dellavedova quarterbacks that team, and what Xavier Cooks does. And, so the Sydney Kings will have our attention here in a few hours, and we'll try to put together a game plan that makes sense.
Do you, in that game will be very noisy from the outside. Do you speak to your guys about that noise, or do you just let the basketball happen?
I think we just focus on the Adelaide 36ers and where we're trying to go and what we're trying to do. And, we're trying to be the best versions of ourselves every day. And, the Sydney Kings present a whole bunch of different challenges than the Tasmanian Jack, whatever they, fighting ants. You know, so it's a little different, right? Sydney's different, and they have different type personnel, and so we'll focus in on what they do and all their switching and what they, you know, how they try to take you out of your offense.
Mike, Nick, last week 15 minutes tonight. He's played a lot of time in China. Has there been a big adjustment because it's a very different basketball culture on and off court in China to the NBL? And
Yeah.
helped him through that.
Yeah, I think he's been super excited about being here and being in an environment that's this competitive. I think we're just scratching the surface with him. He looks really, really unique. Tonight was the first time that we had him out there with Ice, which was a different lineup. You know, we tried to keep it the other night where he was playing the 5 and stuff like that. But he's a really skilled guy. As you guys can see, he makes some passes and he makes some plays. And I think it's a really interesting dynamic. And I'm really excited about where that could go with our 3 bigs, with Zylan and with Ice, and it gives us different looks, both offensively and defensively.
Just want to talk about Isaac White. Had a very light stat sheet, but 21 minutes off the bench, plus 12 equals second on the team. What can you say about his impact on the court that doesn't show up on the stat sheet?
Amazing. Awesome. I think those guys come in and they impact the game. I think Isaac White and what Matt Kenyon and those guys have done when they sub in is you can feel it. And, you know, that's what you need out of your kind of the role guys that come in. And he started the second half, and we've had him in some different roles. But, you know, everything we ask him to do, he's 100% in. And he's been a joy to coach. I like talking to him. He knows the game. He thinks the game. He's on top of, you know, what we should be doing and trying to connect with his teammates. So, you know, his impact, I felt it a lot out there tonight. So maybe he didn't score points, but he did a lot of other things.
Mike, you win your first game of the season for the first time in 10 years, 2-0 first time in 17 years, 3-0 first time in 25 years. I had a fan pass me on the way up here who was talking finals. Are you okay with the fans having that belief, or do you want to put a lid on it?
I mean, I think that it's been a long time since the 36ers have been good, and we want to be good. And I think the guys in that locker room have committed to each other and trying to be good and trying to do something special. We got a long way to go, but, you know, I think we're on the right path to do something. So we love our home crowd. You could feel the energy out there tonight, and you know, they had to stay with it. There was some ups and downs and stuff, and that's what a credit to Tasmania and what they do and how they play, and you know, for us to kind of grind through and make the plays. But yeah, I'm excited. I think our guys in the locker room are excited, and I hope everybody is.
And just on that fight back from Tassie back to within 1 in the third quarter, there were situations like that last season where that may not have ended where it ended tonight.
Yeah.
What are you doing differently? Why is that the case?
Well, I think that, you know, when I take a timeout or something, there's just a different sort of collective resolve, right? I mean, they were all in there talking before I ever sat down. And I've said it a couple times, when your group talks about defense, so when I'm sitting down and they're not really talking about the offensive side at times, like, to me as a head coach, that's a really good sign that we're on the right path. And they're all talking about what we need to be in and what the coverage, and so that kind of makes my job a little bit easier. And then, you know, we're trying to connect, right? I mean, Ice is talking about the connection with him and Bryce on offense, but there's that many connections on defense because Bryce and Ice are going to be in that many pick and rolls together, the point guard / 5-man. So us figuring it out and what works and what everybody's comfortable, I just love the discussion that's going on. And anytime we've got them talking like that, we have a chance to do something good.
As we've already, you're having a great start to the season. Great to see you playing some great basketball. There's a lot of change that's come in. There's great stuff happening. I wanted to ask you about Erin Phillips and her role. I've seen you guys connecting a few times. Has she been a help to you so far?
Yeah, she has. Absolutely. You know, Mike came to me and expressed that Erin's sort of involvement was going to happen, and I took it upon myself to reach out to her and start building a connection with her and start learning from her. And we met for coffees, and I was just picking her brains on what I can do and how I can move this group forward positively in the culture aspect. She gave me so many great things to do, and she's been a pretty good, amazing influence in our group. And you know, weekly catch-ups and check-ins, stuff like that, and I definitely, it's my first time being in a captain role, and I absolutely am leaning on her for advice and help in that space, because I want to do the right things for the group. I want to be the best leader I can for our group, and if that means seeking a bit of help and mentorship in that space, then who better than Erin Phillips? Like, it's been a pretty cool privilege for me to learn from her in that sort of way. So, yeah.
Amazing, and obviously a different dynamic having a female and a
Yeah.
woman in the group, and yeah, great to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's really impacted our group. She's got a calmness about her.
Yeah.
She's been in so many different, just fights and battles and games, and yeah, there's just a calmness, a wisdom. Like, I probably get too ramped up at time. Ice is probably looking at me like I'm crazy at times, but even when she's sitting back there and I look up during a timeout, and she's just sitting there, and I'm like, I need to be like that, But she's really, I think, just helped our group. I've really appreciated her being around and taking her time to speak to our group. And like we said, we've got the most new faces, and for us, we're trying to really move that needle forward quickly, because this season will go fast, and I just don't want to waste an opportunity.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
Long one. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks.
You have one on?
You didn't have one more?
Do you for 25 minutes.
Thanks, guys.